and he seeded it down in grass for hay crop next year because he's involved with tile drainage in his fields, crop rotation, fertilizing the fields, all the latest agricultural ideas. And he'll get those, as I said. He'll subscribe to the Canadian Farmer and the newspaper. We'll see the newspaper office later. We'll reprint a lot of the articles from the Canadian Farmer, the American Agriculturalist, and periodicals like that. Fertilization and drainage were all important by the 1860s because a lot of damage had been done to the land by that time. Wheat yields and on and on. Some people think that's the way it's going to end up in 125 years. Well, at the time, everybody was interested in progress. All the latest machinery, all the latest technology. I have seen instances where kids were out of here and into grammar school by age 9. And there are also 18 and 19-year-olds attending a common school like this. And the 18 or 19-year-olds are here because they didn't have an opportunity to come to school for different reasons. The size of the family, the money, the work done at home, the distance from a school, and the desire to be literate was enough to have a 19-year-old adult really in a schoolroom like this. And you progress through school with a series of books, 5 books. And when you're finished your 5 books, you're finished. So that you can do it at any time and progress. So out of the maybe 45 scholars registered in a school like this, to be 45 different programs going on at the same time. They'd all be working at their own pace and in a different place. And it may be easier to set the school up so that you use first form, second form, third form. And the scholars in the first book sit on the first form, the scholars in the second book sit on the second form. That makes life easier for the schoolmaster or mistress. Just easier to keep track of where they are. Most newspapers were weekly. There are daily newspapers in places like Hamilton, but they take 75 typesetting.
It's the newspaper office.
Into 12-hour shifts. And that way you only have to buy as much type. But a newspaper like this, about half advertising, a 4-page paper, you can set that in weeks. Print it as soon as you get the first page set, start printing late Wednesday. Set the second 2 pages and get the printing finished by Friday night for delivery in the mail on Saturday morning. It's an 8 or 9 hour job to set each column of type. It's half advertisements, and you give special rates. Let your advertisement stand for 6 months or a year, you'll pay less for it. And that frees up the time to do some job printing. Auction bills, hand bills, posters, and that's where the real money is. I always like that house, the McDermott house, because it's a log house, but it has some elements of architectural style. They took care, even with a log house, to make it pretty. With the gable and the side lights around the door. Quite an attractive house. Yes. Oh yeah, in the McDermott house, they've even taken care to hide these. Most log houses have them from not over here. And this is the biggest building of the carpentry building. This was done a couple of years stable, 2 doors here. Room for a team of horses, 3 cattle, and then on the far side there's grain and hay storage. They don't need much room. They need a lot of them, but they don't have to.
And then this Tim Smith.
Go right ahead. Lots of room in there.
Throwing arrows for your next trip.
Oh, good.
Put my out for a couple of days, you know, and what I do, I put 2 pieces at a time.
Yeah.
And
Bend them together.
yes. Yeah. In fact, just build a large set of 60 chairs similar to this one for the tavern, Cook's Tavern.
Yeah.
And now I'm in the process of making 6 more, but this time with different back. This is the Windsor bow back chairs. Usually again a steam bend the wood in a mold. And of course all the turnings are done with a foot operated machine over here. A cradle lathe. To give you a rough idea, just spin a little bit to give you an idea. And then we'll talk about some of the other projects. The plywood is very heavy, therefore keeps the momentum, you know, to cut and shape all the design. I just completed what we call a dry sink or a kitchen cabinet. This is for the Robertson family. The Robertson house is the yellow one with the white trims. Morrison joints, tongue and groove, including all both the parts together. And here I'm making the body for a carriage. This is what we call a gig. It's a 1-horse, 2-wheel carriage. It's a joint project we produce with a blacksmith. In fact, he's making the wheels and the metal parts for it. Just to give you a rough idea. We do lots of repairs as well as helping. And of course, all work we do is usually for the community, for the residents. If you have any particular question you wish to ask, feel free to please. This work is usually done with the tools you see on the screen, you know, in the shop, all by hand. A lot of work, a lot of patience, but the end result is very, very good, you know.
Do you get to sharpen out your own tools?
I make my own tools and I sharpen them, yes. Yeah. It's very important, you know, the sharper the tool, the faster you can work.
How long have you been at this kind?
A lifetime.
Done that?
Yeah. For the past 5 generations of my family, we've been working with it.
Good choice, I look at your work.
Yes, and you must like what you do, it's very important, you know what I mean? Of course, we can switch from very simple items to very fancy, you know, Gothic, Chippendale, Victorian, just about any styles, or any items needed, like spinning wheel, wheelbarrow, just name it, we can produce everything. From designing to finishing, I do. $3.75, almost 4 days labor. The original wellies look exactly like a pair of leather donors. And they had all the stitching reproduced in the rubber, the original.
Okay, now you can take it.
We couldn't buy, they find it advantageous on their insurance premiums to have a fire engine. It's in the shed and there's a tab on it. But that's the engine. You have to know. Oh yes, fire insurance, big business. We're going to go up over the bridge, over the mill pond this way, and into the grist mill. I don't know. I haven't been able to find any of these real well. There are lots of advertisements. The director used to show insurance agents. Something like a general store that doesn't cost much. Whether there was a with water in the wintertime. And when the water goes down, quite often the mills are shut down. With a steam engine, you can run all year.
Cut the green food out. Just when you thought you dried out. Another Niagara.
I've got thousands of rocks to throw in the river.
Come on right in. The grist mill is a necessity to almost every village. You really need access to a grist mill to have the local economy function well. The sawmill, it's pretty necessary. Grist mill is a definite necessity. You won't see as many woolen mills like the one next door. Farmers are willing to drive 30 miles to go to a woolen mill, but not to go to the grist mill. You have to make too many trips to the grist mill. And the first stop inside the door is the weigh scales, and you wouldn't cheat the miller, we all know that, but he may try to cheat you. So you put it on the scales right here where everybody can see it, you won't cheat each other. It's important, you want to sell part of your crop, and it's about 90 cents a bushel right now. And the wheat that you want ground will be paid for with 1/12. That's the miller's toll. He'll keep 1/12 of the wheat himself. He'll grind that later and sell that probably some locally, but most of it in Montreal in the wholesale market. And millers were able to pretty well do what they want, and King George III's advisors came to him and said that that wasn't all that good an idea. They needed some standardization, so they suggested that if the miller took 1/14, that would standardize everything, benefit everybody. And George, nice man but not too bright, said no, 1/14 isn't enough. Give them a 12th. As soon as you got weighed to everybody's satisfaction, you drop it down to the bottom. There's a grill here just to sort out the anything that might be big that might be in there. Drop it down to the bottom of one of these elevators. And you can see the belt and the tin cups for the elevators. This part works by gravity. The water or the steam powers the rest. The cups just pick the wheat up, take it up to the top story. And once it's up there, you can divert it one way to the storage bins. What the miller buys will go to the storage bins and his toll. Divert it the other way and it'll come down to the hopper and into a run of stones. No, it won't. Before it does that, it'll go through the smutter. You want to make sure it's clean. Smut is a black fungus that you'll get on wheat in storage. So you run it through a power smutter which scrubs it and shakes it and blows a stream of air to take all the impurities off. Out of the smother you get good, clean kernels of wheat, and they come down that elevator, back up, across, into this hopper, and then down to the running stones. And right over at the back you can see the controls, the screw controls. You have to monitor the way your stones are grinding. If you have them too close together, the flour will get hot and it'll kill the gluten in the flour and your bread won't rise. And if the stones are too far apart, it won't grind as finely as you want. And of course, everybody wants white flour. The brown parts go for animal feed. You want good, clean, white flour. That's everybody's ideal in the 1860s. This stone is up to be sharpened, and the miller will sharpen that with a pick, a hammer with a face about that wide. It comes to a hardened point. And he's sharpening the edges of the grooves. And air pockets in the stone expose sharp edges that actually do the grinding. And it'll run out to the edge of the stone. Flour runs through that little hole there, down to the bottom of this elevator, up this elevator and into our boulder. And a boulder has a rotating drum covered with 3 different grades of bolting silk. The white flour comes out of this end from the superfine cloth, the middlings, the shorts, and you, sir, are right where the bran comes out, at the very end. And it's on an inclined plane. You can get 12, 14, 15 different grades of bolting cloth. And some millers, depending on how they want to sell their product, can buy different bolting cloth. This is super fine cloth, and the flour, the grade of the flour, the white flour that comes out of here is super fine. Most of the time, you'll take your middlings, shorts, and your bran home as animal feed, but you can mix some back in for different kinds of baking. Most of the time, you want to use the white flour. And you can bag it and sell it, or you can ship it in barrels. Barrels are easier because they're easier to transport and store because you can roll them around. And coopering is a trade that you'll find in almost every village because of the number of barrels needed to cure and store pork, and to ship flour, and to ship any number of things. There is still some flour ground here available at that store, not much. There's still some in there.
We can go upstairs.
No. That, when the mill was put up, that was contracted out because the woodwork for the whole thing. This was a big job. This was moved in '84, I think. This whole building and re-erected. And this is the last major job that's been done in the village. He's certainly not, yes. And a flour barrel is 196 pounds. He's certainly capable of making it, but it's the time and availability that governs that sort of thing. Not rollers. Yeah. Rollers. The technology of the 1880s was rolling. Well, a mill like this was converted to a rolling mill around the turn of the century. And this mill was still producing. Well, rollers. There are still a few. The only one. Well, that's what this does. There are those mills around. They're all associated with museums. There is nobody running it as. No, there are